Greetings and welcome to the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. I'm Rob, yes, looking very intellectual today. That's Chris over there, down here in the basement, also looking very intellectual. TK upstairs, and Vishal way over there. It is about SYH on the Venture Exchange in Canada, Skyharbour Resources. They refer to themselves as the preeminent uranium explorer under CEO Jordan Trimble, kind of a family thing. And let's start with TK to talk about SYH.V.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob, for the intro. I want to go straight into what their key unique selling point is, but they're basically a junior exploration company, and they focus extensively on uranium and thorium. So they have a portfolio of projects that focus on the Canadian Athabasca Basin. And their flagship high-grade project is the More Uranium Project, which brings out tyranium oxide. A lot of confusing words, but tyranium oxide, or U3O8, is a high-grade metal that has the lowest green gas, the lowest gas emissions, so it produces the most amount of energy with the least amount of combustion. And I think 15% of the global production in energy is from uranium projects. So they're pretty big in that portion of the sector, and majority of their deposits are high grade, which is unique because a lot of uranium is low concentration, low grade uranium. So they're in a great position to kind of capitalize on some of the prices in the market today.
And there's quite a history here, family history, right, Chris? Like the Trimbles?
Yeah, the Trimbles are, we often say, bet on the jockey, not on the horse. The Trimble family is definitely a family of solid jockeys. Bill's been around since, since Beethoven was a pup. Jordan has taken the reins and run Skyharbour over several years now to be one of the better explorers in the junior uranium space in Canada. But this is one of those situations where both the horse and jockey are worth betting on. They've got some good projects that are, I would say, nearer term than many. There's a lot of uranium explorers in Canada for sure. Some of them come with some baggage, tradition, and maybe the jockeys are a little bit insane. There's a lot of uranium projects out there that you'd have to drain a lake to get to. And there's, for that reason, there's a lot of people that sort of hold off on the space. Also, with the younger investor crowd, nuclear power isn't exactly the thing that they gravitate to. Solar and wind are obviously the clean energy power sources du jour. But look out the window today, guys. It's pretty cloudy out. There's been some wind, but it's not consistent. And uranium really is a power source that more frequently is seen as a clean power rather than something that leaves a bunch of detritus around for future generations to deal with. For me, in a time when power is in all forms is on the rise price-wise, I think it's a good time to really start looking at uranium as a good bet. Certainly there are others that feel that way. If we look at the prices of uranium explorers, and Skyharbour's stock chart has been kind of a special one for the last 6 months, I'd say.
Speaking of that, it's a perfect transition to Vishal. We were talking about our chart attack master.
Yeah, for sure, Rob. But just quickly, just backing up TK and Chris, their uranium's hot. It's been on a tear right now, and just the Athabasca region, it has like the highest grade uranium pretty much in the world, and you have your big boys there like Cameco and Denison who produce the uranium there. So if there's somewhere where you want to be, I think that's where you want to be. There's a few other uranium juniors who are in Africa, but I would prefer Saskatchewan rather than Africa. So definitely take a look there. And as Chris mentioned, you don't have to drain a lake, which is actually very important for uranium because a lot of the uranium is actually, I think, underwater or close to the water there. So chart-wise, we have to first talk about uranium. As I said, it's been on a tear, and I'm just going to show you, 25 years going out. Was a bit dull in uranium from 2013 till this year, and we took out basically 8-year highs here. Well, we haven't seen prices like this since 2013. 2012, actually, today. Last time I think we all talked about uranium, we were actually under this $40 zone. And we were talking about, hey, if uranium gets above that, this $40 area, it's going to get hot. And now we're at 48.85. And I think there's still some room there for uranium to go. Onto Skyharbour, we had basically 173% rally in basically less than a month, from mid-August to the beginning of September there. The stock is still it's still up 190% year to date. And what I would say now is the stock is, I guess, beginning to consolidate now, which is understandable given the move we had. Very quickly here on the daily, I just want to show you guys the breakout zone here was at 60 cents, and we did pull back and we did see buyers step in. I mean, look at that strength of that green candle there. But I want to take you guys even further back, and this is going to play into, I guess, me allocating money in the stock. But I want to show you this monthly chart of uranium. And I mentioned this because, we have basically 4 more days left until trading days left in October. And I really like what I'm seeing here with this base pattern here. And we might actually get a monthly candle breakout. We tried in September, but instead we sold off and closed below. So come next week, Tuesday, when we get this monthly close, it might be above 60 cents. And oh boy, we have room to go to $1 and $1.50 then. So things are looking very bullish, Rob.
What's remarkable also, fellas, is the time-space continuum, because Galen and I, who's running this episode, and it will be on a couple of the next ones, we were trying to figure out the last time we talked about Skyharbour. We're like, oh, it must have been, 2-3 weeks ago? It was the beginning of September. So it's just like, oh my God, time flies.
It was like just before that big pop.
Yeah, it popped, and we've done probably 40 roundtables since then, but look at them go. And since they are still kind of doing their thing, let's go back around the horn and see how much of my money you want to spend. We might have to start maybe increasing my kitty from 5 to 10K the way it's been going lately, because we've been kicking ass with so many stocks. But we'll stick with the 5 for now, TK. And what are you going to spend?
Awesome. I think I'll go over what I think is the thesis for most bull uraniums is if you have an explorer that uses the prospective generator model, which is sort of a minimize risk and maximize the reward sort of structure. And it's only become popular over the last 20 decades, where a lot of them have focused on the acquisition of high-grade secondary projects. So they gain exposure through either option contract or outright purchase of projects that are already out there. And it takes away the risk of deploying capital in deposits that won't yield any uranium. Uranium is pretty concentrated in where it is, and majority of the deposits you won't be able to get the high-grade uranium. So this takes away that risk from shareholders, and it makes it easier for these companies to finance cash that allows them to deploy more capital into higher projects. And it's that virtuous cycle that's amazing for Skyharbour. I think that's something they do well. And like Chris alluded to, the family history is pretty entrenched in the industry. So they have the know-how, which is pretty hard to get in the mining industry. I am not buying because I am not a big fan of the uranium projects, but it is a really good company.
So $0. That opens up an extra $5,000 for you guys.
Surprise twist.
Chris is next. It is a surprise twist, because I think the last time you had me mortgaging the house for one of these properties. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, so people are going to look at this chart one of two ways. They're either going to see the big rise over the last few months as being a vindicator and a reason to maybe climb aboard, or they're going to see it as potentially a sign that they've missed the train. I don't think you've missed the train on this one. I think what you've found is people are coming out of the woodwork and making their bet. They're not pulling out of the bet. They're making their bet right now. So, volatility is still there. There's still an opportunity to buy on dips if you're thus inclined. But I think this is one of those ones where you keep adding as you go until the stock tells you shouldn't. If we go further back from before the time when Rob was at Equity.Guru, we've been talking about this company since it was 15 cents, 20 cents, 15 cents. Over the last few years, we've been saying the same thing. Good properties, good people. Uranium will have its day. Admittedly, uranium has been due to have its day for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's starting to get to that place.
Yeah.
People are stopping the whole, Fukushima, remember Fukushima, can't touch uranium thing. The stigma is dropping away. We're getting back to a place where even green politicians are starting to look at nuclear power as being a good option. I think that you throw 2K at this of your 5 and you keep a watch out. If it has another dip back to 60, you max out. If it keeps climbing, then you just grab on the dips as best you can.
All right, Michelle.
Yep, I'm echoing the same thing there pretty much as Chris. I would put 1K in around this area, and basically I would add another 1K after the 31st, just looking at that monthly chart that I mentioned. But I just want to stress that this, I think is like a long-term hold, right? I mean, I'm bullish on uranium. I'm bullish on all commodities. But as Chris mentioned, the climate crisis. We should also say Bill Gates is actually big in uranium. He's been coming out saying, hey, uranium is the CO2-free clean energy that we actually need right now. And a lot of uranium reactors are actually slating to go offline rather than be produced in the States, although there's a lot in China, India, and I believe maybe the Japanese now are bringing theirs up. So I like the supply and demand mechanism. I like inflation. I like commodities with the whole inflation story. And I think, this is one that you jump into.
I think I saw Bill Gates' photo on their website.
So right here, there he is. Yeah,
they're referencing his support.
True. Rob, before you close this off, I forgot to mention there's an analyst out with a price target for them for $1.14, and their current bid is close to 74 cents, I think. And his thesis is the uranium market is showing signs of recovery, and people are saying these are the best fundamentals since pre-Fukushima days. So it's a pretty bullish.
Looking good.
And let's not forget also, it was only 8 weeks ago this thing was at 30 cents. It's now touching around 80, 75, 80. So, there's been an opportunity to really make money on this thing since we've been talking about it. And, you by all means keep waiting, but every time you wait, you're missing multiples.
Yeah. And since that 30 cents, we've done
if you just listen to us.
On the Roundtable, when it was 30 something cents, maybe 40 at the time. There you have it. You don't have to listen to us. And actually you shouldn't without also consulting your own research and maybe your own expert, because, we can't guarantee anything. Past performance does not guarantee future results. So do your homework, but hopefully you enjoy and take something out of the Roundtable. Pretty cool stuff about the preeminent uranium explorer company. It is SYH.V, Skyharbour, under Jordan Trimble, the CEO. And there you have it on this edition of the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.